Can you really trust him? Trust is like a fragile thread that holds everything together one moment and can crumble into dust the next. Imagine opening your heart, letting someone close to you, only to end up letting them realize that you have been betrayed. This feeling of insecurity that sometimes keeps us awake at night is with us all. The question is, who can you trust and why? Today we will reveal the truth about trust and the consequences if it is broken. Feel free to subscribe to my channel. A short comment can appreciate and support my work. Feel free to write feedback in the comments, or have you ever been in this situation? Then please let me know. Thank you. The first encounter, can you trust him from the start? You meet him. His smile is charming, his words smooth, and for a moment you feel a spark. But behind that initial excitement, there's always the same question creeping into the back of your mind. Can I trust him? We've all been there before, at the beginning of something that feels new and exciting. You want to believe in the possibilities, in the storybook romance you've always imagined. But there's always that shadow of doubt, born from past betrayals, broken promises, and lingering insecurities. Trust. It's fragile, isn't it? And when it's broken once, it's hard to hand it over again. But here's the hard truth. Trust isn't something you can give blindly. Not anymore. Maybe you've been burned before, by a man who said all the right things but did all the wrong ones. Maybe the scars from past relationships make it harder to believe that this time will be different. Yet, here you are again, wondering, hoping, but still holding back. So can you trust him from the start? It's a question without a simple answer. Trust isn't built overnight, and it certainly doesn't come in the first moments of attraction. There are signs, of course. His consistency, his honesty, his actions aligning with his words. But in the beginning, all you have is instinct. Your gut, that deep feeling in your chest, will often tell you what your heart is too eager to ignore. We're taught to believe in love at first sight, but we don't talk enough about trust at first sight. Because trust is more than just liking someone. It's about feeling safe. It's about knowing that the person in front of you will stand by their word, even when things get difficult. But here's the real question. Do you trust yourself enough to know the difference between charm and authenticity, between excitement and something real? Because before you can trust him, you need to trust your own judgment. So as you stand at the edge of something new, take a moment, breathe, look beyond the words and the surface level charm. Ask yourself not just if you can trust him, but if he's showing you that he deserves that trust. The truth is, trust isn't something you give away. It's something that's earned. As you stand at the beginning of something new, excitement, instinct, or doubt, can you trust your gut? You're sitting across from him, laughing at something he said, but deep inside, there's that little twinge, that nagging feeling you can't shake. Is it paranoia? Or is it your gut telling you something isn't right? We've all felt it, that split second of doubt when everything seems perfect on the surface, but something inside just won't let you relax. And then the overthinking starts. Is it just you? Are your past experiences clouding your judgment? Or are you sensing something real? Instinct and doubt. They're two sides of the same coin, but how do you tell the difference? Your gut knows things that your heart hasn't caught up to yet. It whispers truths that logic sometimes tries to argue with. The problem is, we don't always want to listen. We want to believe the best. We want to trust easily. We want to avoid seeming too suspicious, too guarded. But those little red flags, no matter how small, are often waving for a reason. Think about the last time you ignored your gut. That small, uncomfortable feeling you brushed off as just overthinking. Maybe it was something he said, a slight inconsistency in his story. Maybe it was the way he avoided certain questions or how he got defensive too quickly. You told yourself it was nothing, but later you realized your gut was screaming the truth all along. Here's the thing, your instinct is rarely wrong. It's that survival mechanism deep inside, protecting you, telling you when to slow down, when to watch closely, when to hold back. It's not about paranoia, it's about protection. It's about recognizing that something might be off before you get too deep. But how do you know when it's real and when it's just fear? That's the tricky part, isn't it? Trusting yourself enough to know the difference. Fear is loud, but instinct is steady. Fear clouds your mind with what ifs, but instinct is that quiet nudge you feel when no one's watching. It's calm, not chaotic. So here's the question. Do you trust your gut? Because trusting a man starts with trusting yourself. If something feels wrong, don't ignore it. Pay attention. You owe it to yourself to listen to that inner voice that's been with you all along, even when your heart is too eager to believe the best. Your instinct is your strongest ally. Don't silence it. Hidden red flags, the subtle signs something's not right. It's the little things, isn't it? The tiny moments that make you pause for a second, just long enough for that sinking feeling to creep in. It's not always obvious. Rarely is it the big, dramatic betrayal right away. More often, it's the subtle things that start to add up. Things you might even try to ignore because you don't want to seem paranoid. But deep down, you know. Maybe it's the way he avoids certain questions, or how he seems distracted when you're together. Maybe it's the inconsistencies in his stories. Slight, but enough to make you wonder. You brush it off at first. After all, no one is perfect, right? But those small moments stick with you. He cancels plans at the last minute with a vague excuse. He doesn't answer his phone as often as he used to, or he takes a little too long to reply to texts. When you ask him about it, his answers don't quite sit right, but you let it slide. Why? Because you want to trust him. You want to believe that it's nothing. But deep down, there's that nagging voice. It's telling you that something doesn't add up. You see, red flags aren't always waving boldly in your face. Sometimes they're just faint signals in the background, hard to spot but impossible to ignore once you've noticed them. It's in the way he turns a little defensive when you ask about his day, or how he keeps certain parts of his life mysteriously private. He might not be lying outright, but he's withholding, keeping just enough hidden to make you wonder. And that's the thing with trust. It's not always shattered by one big lie. Sometimes it's slowly chipped away by 1,000 small moments of uncertainty. So how many little red flags are you willing to overlook before you admit to yourself that something's wrong? But here's the hardest part. When you really care about someone, it's easy to make excuses. It's easy to rationalize the behavior and tell yourself, it's no big deal, or I'm just being dramatic. You convince yourself that it's just your own fear talking, that he wouldn't really hurt you. But the truth is in those small, seemingly insignificant details. Because in the end, trust isn't just about believing someone's words. It's about feeling secure in their actions, especially the ones they don't think you notice. So, the question is, how many hidden red flags are too many? And how long will you wait before you stop ignoring them? Trust isn't just about hoping for the best. It's about being brave enough to see the truth, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it hurts. Trust and honesty. How much transparency do you really need? He looks you in the eyes and tells you what you want to hear. His words seem sincere, but deep down you can't shake the feeling that something's missing. Is he really telling you everything, or is he holding back? Honesty. It's the foundation of trust, right? But let's be real. Complete transparency is scary. Not just for him, but for you too. Because deep down, what if you don't want to hear the whole truth? What if some truths are too painful, too complicated to face? And yet here you are, wondering, can you truly trust someone if you know they're not being fully open with you? Can you trust him if there are parts of his life that remain in the shadows, things he doesn't share, things he glosses over when you ask? Maybe he says he's just private. Maybe he tells you it's not a big deal, or why does it matter? But it matters to you. Because trust without honesty isn't really trust at all, is it? It's a facade, a delicate balance where you're left guessing, hoping, assuming everything's okay. Here's where it gets complicated. How much truth is too much? There are some things you might not want to know, some details that, even if true, would do more harm than good. Maybe he had a complicated past, made mistakes, or has insecurities he's still working through. Does that mean he should tell you every single thing? Or are there parts of his life that are better left unspoken? Honesty isn't just about spilling every secret. It's about being open about the things that matter, the things that shape who he is and how he treats you. But you have to ask yourself, what kind of honesty do you need to feel secure? Do you need every detail? Or do you need to know that, when it really counts, he'll stand by his word and be honest with you? even when it's hard. Because trust isn't about perfection. It's about knowing that when things get tough, he won't hide, won't lie, won't run. He'll face it with you, even if it's uncomfortable. But here's the thing. Honesty works both ways. If you want transparency, you have to be ready to give it too. You can't ask for what you're not willing to offer. Are you being honest with him about your own fears, your doubts, your past? Are you hiding things because you're afraid of what he might think? In the end, trust and honesty are a two-way street. You both have to be willing to be vulnerable. You both have to be willing to open up. Even when next chapter about jealousy, is it a sign of betrayal or justified concern? Jealousy. It creeps in quietly, catching you off guard. Maybe it's the way he glances at another woman, or how his phone lights up with a message that he quickly dismisses. Suddenly, you feel that knot in your stomach, the one that makes you question everything. But what is jealousy really telling you? Is it a sign that he's done something wrong? Or is it just your own insecurities bubbling to the surface, making you see things that aren't there? We've all been there. That moment when a harmless situation suddenly feels threatening. He says, you have nothing to worry about, but you're not so sure. Maybe you've been hurt before, or maybe he hasn't given you any reason to doubt him, but still, you can't help feeling uneasy. Here's the thing about jealousy. It's often less about him and more about you. It's about your past, your experiences, and your fears. Maybe someone betrayed you before, and now every time you feel a little vulnerable, those old wounds reopen. Maybe you're afraid of losing him, so you start seeing threats where there aren't any. But what if it's not all in your head? What if there's a reason for that feeling? Because sometimes jealousy isn't just insecurity. Sometimes it's your mind picking up on small clues that something isn't right. Maybe it's the way he keeps his phone turned over on the table, or how he's suddenly less available. Maybe it's how he talks about a certain coworker a little too often, or how he avoids certain topics. So how do you know if your jealousy is justified? It comes down to trust. If you trust him, then those moments of doubt can be discussed, faced, and resolved. But if there's a lack of trust, whether it's because of his actions or your own insecurities, jealousy will only grow. It will eat away at your relationship, making you question everything, even things that have nothing to do with betrayal. The key is communication. If you're feeling jealous, it's okay to talk about it. Not in an accusatory way, but in a way that lets him know how you're feeling. Maybe you're not even accusing him of anything, but you need reassurance, and that's okay. Being vulnerable doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. But here's the hard part. You also have to trust his response. If he's reassuring you, if he's consistent and open, then you have to ask yourself, are you holding on to old fears, or is there something deeper going on? In the end, jealousy is like a mirror. It reflects not just what's happening in the relationship, but also what's happening inside you. So the real question is, are you ready to look closely at what that jealousy is telling you? And are you willing to face what comes next, whether it's healing your own insecurities or confronting a truth that you've been avoiding? Jealousy can either tear you apart or open the door to deeper trust. The choice is yours. Next chapter about mixed signals. Is he confused or just stringing you along? One day he's all in, sending sweet texts, making plans, showing you the attention you crave. The next day, he's distant, unavailable, hard to read. Mixed signals. They leave you feeling confused, frustrated, and questioning everything. You've asked yourself countless times, is he really into me? Or is he just keeping me around because it's convenient? Does he genuinely care, or is he afraid to let go of the comfort of having someone? Mixed signals can be one of the hardest things to deal with in a relationship because they leave you constantly guessing. You're stuck in a cycle of highs and lows, where one moment you feel like you're the center of his world, and the next, you feel invisible. So what do mixed signals actually mean? Is he genuinely confused about his feelings, or is he sending them on purpose to keep you at arm's length without committing fully? Here's a truth that's hard to accept. If someone truly wants to be with you, they don't leave you wondering. Sure, everyone has moments of doubt, and not every relationship starts perfectly. But when someone is serious about you, their actions show it consistently. They don't push you away one day and pull you back the next. The frustrating part is that mixed signals often keep you holding on longer than you should. You cling to the good moments, the times he's attentive, the sweet things he says when he's fully present. You tell yourself, maybe he's just busy, or maybe he's going through something. And sure, that might be true, but how long can you live in the uncertainty? Mixed signals often point to one thing: indecision. And while you might be willing to wait, hoping that he'll figure out his feelings and choose you, the real question is, why should you have to wait for someone to decide if you're worth their time? If he's inconsistent, you need to look at the pattern. Is this a temporary phase, or has he always been like this? If it's a one-off, maybe it's something you can work through together. But if it's a consistent issue, if he's always making you feel uncertain, then you have to ask yourself, are you okay with living in the gray area? Because mixed signals aren't just about him, they're about you too. They chip away at your confidence, your sense of security, and your peace of mind. And over time, they create a constant state of doubt, making you question not just him, but yourself. So, how long will you stay in a space where you're left guessing? How long will you hold on to someone who can't fully commit to you? Consistency builds trust, and if he's not giving you that, then maybe it's time to stop looking for signs and start trusting your own instincts. The apology. Does he really mean it, or is it just words? It happens. A fight, a mistake, something that leaves you hurt and questioning everything. Then the apology comes. Maybe it's immediate, or maybe it takes longer than it should. He says he's sorry, but in the back of your mind you're wondering, does he really mean it? Words are easy. An apology can roll off the tongue with little effort, but it's not the words that matter, it's the actions that follow. You've been here before, haven't you? Someone hurt you, apologized, promised to change, and then nothing really changed. The same patterns repeated, leaving you feeling like you're stuck in a cycle of broken promises and temporary solutions. So how do you know if this time is different? How do you know if his apology is real, if he truly understands the hurt he caused, or if he's just saying what you want to hear to smooth things over? Real apologies go beyond words. It's not just about him saying sorry. It's about him showing that he's willing to change, that he's committed to making things right. It's about him understanding not just that you're upset, but why you're upset. It's about accountability. If he's quick to apologize but slow to change, that's a red flag. It means he's more interested in ending the argument than actually fixing the root of the problem. You don't want someone who says, "I'm sorry," just to keep the peace. You want someone who is willing to put in the effort to ensure that the mistake doesn't happen again. You deserve more than just words. You deserve actions that back up those words, actions that show he values you, that he respects your feelings, and that he's willing to do the work to earn your trust back. But here's the hard part. Sometimes we're so desperate for things to go back to normal that we accept an apology without seeing the follow-through. We accept the words because we want to believe them, because we want the hurt to stop. But if you accept an apology too quickly without seeing real change, you risk setting yourself up for disappointment again. You risk letting him off the hook, allowing him to think that words alone are enough. So what should you be looking for? It's not about grand gestures or over-the-top promises. It's about consistency. It's about the small, everyday actions that show he's putting in the effort to rebuild trust. Does he communicate better? Does he make an effort to understand your feelings instead of just defending his own? Does he show up for you in ways that he didn't before? An apology is the beginning, not the end. It's the first step toward healing, but healing only happens when both of you are committed to moving forward in a healthy way. You deserve someone who is willing to do the work, not just offer you pretty words. Trust isn't rebuilt with a single apology. It's rebuilt through time, through patience, and through actions that prove he's truly sorry, not just in that moment, but for the long haul. Trusting again. Can you open your heart after betrayal? You've been hurt before. You've felt the sting of betrayal, the pain of broken promises, and the weight of disappointment. Now, as you stand on the brink of a new relationship, the question looms large in your mind. Can you truly trust again? The scars of the past can be heavy. They whisper doubts into your ear, reminding you of the heartbreak you've endured. Every moment of vulnerability feels like a risk. You want to open your heart, but you're terrified of what might happen if you do. What if he hurts you too? What if this time is just another repeat of the last? Trusting again is not just about him, it's about you. It's about allowing yourself to believe in the possibility of love again, even when the memories of betrayal linger. It's about confronting your fears and deciding whether you'll let them dictate your future or if you'll take the leap of faith. You might find yourself analyzing every little thing he does. You might hesitate to fully engage, to give yourself over to the relationship, fearing that you'll be let down once more. The truth is, rebuilding trust takes time. It's a gradual process that requires patience from both of you. It starts with setting boundaries. You need to communicate your fears and concerns. Let him know what you need from him to feel secure. Acknowledging your past doesn't mean you're wallowing in it. It means you're honoring your experience and taking it into account as you move forward. As you navigate this new terrain, watch for the signs that he's willing to be trustworthy. Does he respect your boundaries? Is he consistent in his actions and words? Is he open and honest about his feelings? These are all crucial elements that will help you feel safe enough to let your guard down. But here's the paradox. You can't completely heal until you take that leap. Trust requires vulnerability, and vulnerability is inherently risky. You might find yourself holding back, waiting for him to prove himself before you fully commit. But the reality is that true connection often comes from embracing the uncertainty. What you must remember is that not everyone is out to hurt you. Yes, some have betrayed your trust, but that doesn't mean every potential partner will follow suit. There are good men who will honor your heart and treat you with the respect you deserve. So how do you move past the fear? Start small. Allow yourself to be open to the possibility of trust, even if it feels uncomfortable. Share your thoughts and feelings. Let him see your vulnerabilities. In turn, allow him to share his too. Trust builds when both partners are willing to be open and authentic. It won't happen overnight. You will have moments of doubt. You may feel the urge to retreat to protect yourself, but remind yourself that every relationship is a new opportunity. Every person is a fresh chance to rewrite the narrative you've been telling yourself about love and trust. In the end, the only way to find out if you can trust again is to take that first step. It's about being brave enough to try, despite the scars of the past. You deserve love, and you deserve a partner who is willing to work with you to build a foundation of trust that lasts. Trust is a journey, not a destination, and every step forward is a victory in itself. The choice: trusting him or protecting yourself. As you sit on the edge of uncertainty, you're faced with a pivotal choice. Do you open your heart to him and trust him, or do you protect yourself from the potential pain of being hurt again? It's a battle many of us know all too well, and the stakes feel impossibly high. Every relationship brings with it a unique blend of hope and fear. Hope that this time will be different, that he will respect your heart and prove himself worthy of your trust. Fear that this is just another chance to get hurt, another opportunity for disappointment. You're caught in a tug of war between longing for connection and the instinct to shield yourself from vulnerability. You think about the moments of joy you've shared with him, the laughter, the late-night talks, the dreams you've begun to build together. Those moments make your heart swell, but they're also tinged with doubt. You wonder if it's too good to be true, if happiness is just a mask hiding the reality of potential heartbreak. Choosing to trust someone is a leap of faith. It requires you to be brave, to confront the past while stepping into the future. But here's the truth. Trusting him doesn't mean ignoring your instincts or neglecting your boundaries. It means acknowledging your fears, but still moving forward despite them. It means taking calculated risks, not blindly throwing your heart into the fire. You need to ask yourself, what do you truly want? Do you want to live in the shadows of your past, constantly wary and fearful? Or do you want to embrace the possibility of love and connection? Yes, there's a chance you could be hurt again, but there's also a chance that this could be the relationship that changes everything for you, that heals the wounds you carry. Part of this choice is about recognizing your own worth. You deserve a partner who respects you, who values your feelings, and who is willing to put in the effort to build trust. But that partner also deserves a chance to prove themselves. How can you expect him to show up if you're not willing to meet him halfway? Trust isn't just given, it's earned through consistency, honesty, and vulnerability. As you navigate this decision, keep in mind that it's okay to move slowly. You don't have to dive in head first. Set the pace that feels comfortable for you and communicate that to him. Let him know where you stand and what you need to feel safe. Ultimately, the choice is yours. Will you choose to trust him, knowing that it requires you to be vulnerable? Or will you hold on to your walls, protecting yourself from potential pain, but also missing out on the beauty of a genuine connection? Whatever you decide, remember that it's okay to prioritize your well-being. Trusting someone again after being hurt is not a sign of weakness. It's a testament to your strength and resilience. Trust is a dance, sometimes graceful, sometimes awkward, but always worth the effort when it leads to genuine connection and love. As you stand at this crossroads, take a deep breath. Embrace the uncertainty and the possibilities that lie ahead. You have the power to choose, to trust, and to love again. And that choice, no matter what you decide, is the first step toward healing and growth. Embracing trust in love. As you reflect on the journey of trust, its complexities, its challenges, and its triumphs, you realize that trusting someone is not a simple act, but a profound choice that shapes your relationships and your life. Each chapter has revealed the intricacies of love, the moments of doubt, and the necessity of vulnerability. Trust is fragile yet powerful. It's the foundation upon which deep connections are built, yet it can be shattered in an instant. You've learned that it's not just about taking a leap of faith, but about cultivating an environment where both partners feel safe to be open and honest. It's about recognizing your own worth and the importance of mutual respect in a relationship. In the end, you have the power to define your boundaries and to communicate your needs. You deserve someone who will not only listen, but who will also take your feelings to heart. Trust isn't about ignoring your past. It's about learning from it, allowing it to inform your present without dictating your future. As you navigate the complexities of love, remember that every relationship is an opportunity for growth. The choice to trust again is an act of courage. It acknowledges the potential for pain while also opening the door to the possibility of love, joy, and deeper connection. Trust requires effort from both partners. It flourishes in an environment of honesty, communication, and vulnerability. Allow yourself to embrace the journey, knowing that with every step you take towards trust, you're also taking a step towards healing and rediscovery of what love can truly be. So, as you stand on the threshold of new beginnings, choose to trust. Trust in yourself, trust in your instincts, and trust in the potential for love to transform your life. Remember that while the risk of heartache exists, the rewards of connection, intimacy, and understanding far outweigh the fears. In the end, love is about more than just avoiding pain. It's about embracing the beauty of human connection, knowing that you are worthy of trust and love. Take that leap, open your heart, and step into the possibilities that await you. Your journey towards trust is just beginning, and it holds the promise of a brighter, more fulfilling future.